It is.
I have one more sort of introductory thing for this before we get into the chapter, which we'll start next time. But since we're talking about gender, I want you to humor me for a little bit and see if we can run a little experiment. I want to know your first impression. I'm going to show you a set of twins. They are 11, and the first set of pictures I'm going to show you, they're fraternal twins because one's a boy and one's a girl. And so the only thing that you're going to know about them is that one's a boy and one's a girl, and then what they look like. Okay? So I want you to make judgments based on one's a boy, one's a girl, and this is what they look like. I either want you to picture yourself at 11 or picture your children at 11, whichever one is easiest for you. So if you're picturing yourself at 11, I want to know who you would rather be friends with based on what you see. If you're picturing your children at 11, who would you rather your children be friends with? Okay? So here's our brother and sister at 11. I'll let you look and think about it for a second. Okay? By a show of hands, based on solely what you see there, who's leaning more towards the boy? Who's leaning more towards the girl? Who has no idea, is somewhere in the middle, doesn't really care? Okay. Most of the hands were leaning more towards the boy. Those of you that chose you would rather be friends with or rather your children be friends with the boy, why did you pick the boy?
I have 2 friends.
So they can't be friends with girls?
What about a good friend?
I was.
Okay.
She's still personality.
Oh, thank you for being honest. What are we thinking about the 11-year-old girl, perhaps, that maybe you're leaning more towards the boy?
Look like she's 11. I'm sure she doesn't act like she's 11. And look at the kind of picture she's taking.
If Kate brought her home, I'd take her.
Yeah. And if her shirt was about 4 inches higher, I would have no problem.
I like the look of her.
Yeah, she's got a cool hair. I'll give her that.
I
And
like
maybe she
makeup
wouldn't wear
for
so
11.
much makeup.
Yeah.
I
didn't
would
start wearing makeup till I was 14. My mom wouldn't let me.
It's still not very ready for me to wear makeup. This has got to be like a really special occasion.
So those that lean more towards the girl, what are you thinking?
The guy just looks too proper and well kept.
So he's too much of a dork for you?
Not dork. It just seems too good, and that upsets me for some reason.
Okay.
He just seems like a really nice person.
Everything ain't nice. I'm picking.
I would just get bored, maybe. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, you're too much of a
No,
dork.
I definitely want my children to be friends with somebody who is nice and well kept and put together because those are the examples I want to set for my child.
So you're kind of thinking that there's just too much about the guy that you don't like, so you're kind of going to the girl by default.
Yeah.
Do you see any of the issues, or do you not care about anything that everyone else said? What do you think about what they were saying?
I mean, I am apathetic.
Okay.
But also, I totally understand she's 11 and her boobs are about to pop.
She doesn't really have boobs to be wearing a low-cut shirt like that.
Yeah.
All right. Good points.
She's 11.
I'm going to show you another set of pictures. Our twins are now 13. And I'm going to ask you the same question. Okay? So we're now 13 instead of 11.
Oh, 13?
Neither.
It's the milk. It's the milk nowadays.
So I'm going to do a show of hands thing again. Who's leaning more towards the guy?
She's wearing a corset.
Leaning more towards the girl? Don't know, completely confused. Oh my god, what's going on now?
I'm going to go in the corner by myself.
Okay. There was much more not wanting to vote that time, but we're still leaning more towards the guy than the girl. What are the issues we're thinking of here? What's going on in your minds?
Better to hang out with now.
He's not so goody-goody anymore?
Yeah, but it's the corset. I'm just not a fan of the corset.
She looks like she's 23. Oh my gosh. She looks
He looks experienced. That's how Paul's
should
not
be
allowed
working
to
the
friends all the
street
time.
corner. Have a
Like,
little bit of class
he's
and
gonna
figure
stay.
it
You live in a
out.
bubble.
With me, I'll be his friend.
Before Kate and Ashton are going to be like locked in their rooms and at home, right? Okay. So, you can be friends with your brother, that's it.
Yeah, we can save the girl though. We can be friends to fix her.
Okay. So you're going to fall into the psychologist trap of all of our relationships and being, but I can fix them.
Yeah.
It'll work.
No. My son wouldn't know. If he brought her home, he would not be ever leaving the house, and he would have a chastity belt wrapped around his face.
That's not good for them.
All right. I've got one more thing to show you. One more thing to show you. Let's see if this changes your mind or shifts your perception at all. I'm going to show you two pictures. They are a brother and sister who are 11 years old. I want you to either picture yourself at 11 or picture your children at 11, whichever one is easier for you to do. If you're picturing yourself at 11, I want you to think about who you would rather be friends with. If you're picturing your children at 11, who would you rather your children be friends with? Now, I understand you know nothing about this brother and sister other than how they look. Okay? So here's our pictures. I'll give you a second to think about it, and then I'll ask you.
Okay, that's an 11-year-old?
They are 11.
Oh, God.
Holy crap. I should beat their parents.
Okay? So how many of you would rather be friends with or have your 11-year-old child be friends with the boy?
Probably.
How about the girl? Okay, those of you that are saying the boy, why would you rather be friends with or have your children be friends with the boy?
Because he looks normal.
Okay.
I don't really think her hair color or her makeup has anything to do with her personality. So,
My parents that love me wear makeup or down
I think it's a little odd that her parents let her do
Okay, since
that.
we're talking about the girl already, those of you that are leaning towards the girl, why would you pick the girl?
Because if I was an 11-year-old boy.
Oh,
Oh my
God.
Lord.
Okay.
I don't see anything wrong with dying when you're at 11.
Okay, so some of us have issues with the 11-year-old girl. What are those issues? Since we started there. Okay. Is it the objections that I'm hearing? Are these the people that are picturing their 11-year-old child being friends with the 11-year-old, or yeah? So we have an issue as an adult looking back at the 11-year-old, not necessarily from the 11-year-old perspective.
Like, I would be friends with anyone who wants to be friends with me if I were 11, just saying.
Okay. So what are the objections that I'm hearing? What are we concerned with about the 11-year-old girl?
If she's trying to make herself look like she's older, she could be doing things that she would consider older people doing.
Okay, so Steven sort of commented on dyeing your hair is not a big deal. Can I come to you for a counterpoint? Whoever it was over there, sort of voice. So they're saying, well, I don't know, what do you say?
I don't know, I know somebody who's that age and looks actually exactly like that. But I don't see the point in, like, what's wrong with dyeing your hair and wearing makeup?
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, bad to wear makeup.
There's nothing specifically wrong with it, and I'm not saying it's the case.
Thank you very much. I was just sitting here like, come on, she showed more than me.
You gonna go belt up under your stuff?
There's nothing really wrong with dyeing her hair, but if she's, like I said, if she's presenting herself as older, she could be doing things that she might consider older people doing, which means she could be getting some stuff that she doesn't need to get into at 11.
Anyone have any issues with the boy?
I mean, I'm just saying the whole hair dyeing thing could lead to lemon scratch stuff. It's worse.
No issues with the boy then.
He's gay. Not that that bothers me. I'm just saying.
That's
Yeah.
Alright. I'm going to show you another set of pictures. Same brother and sister.
Oh, those are brothers.
They're brother and sister. Yep.
Fashionable family.
Same siblings. They're now 13. So instead of picturing at 11, you're now picturing at 13, and I'll ask you the same set of questions.
Oh,
Oh, God.
oh my God. Oh my Lord.
Yep, that seems like what she's going towards.
So what are we thinking here? Who's still leaning towards the boy?
Yeah.
Anyone?
She's wearing a
Anyone leaning towards the girl? Or are we now so confused we have no idea what the hell's going on?
I'm still leaning towards the girl.
Okay. What do we think?
I would be fine with either of them.
Okay, I heard he looks crazy from at least one person.
Rather than my child hang around her now. I mean, I didn't kind of spoil it.
I don't think I'm a better
They want to be friends too.
She dyed her hair at 11, apparently he waited to 13. That was hair blonde.
Yeah, that was not a good
Like
message.
Huh?
Like Adam Levine.
Maybe.
Adam Levine is better looking, though. I'm just saying.
He's like totally hot.
Okay, so we have some objections apparently to the 13-year-old boy wanting to be blonde.
No,
What do you think about the girl?
it's not that I object to it, I just think
The girl is
it was
so
not a good
positive.
decision. She does. She looks like a prostitute. I kind of agree. Which, I mean, she might not be a bad person, but
Yeah, it's her personality.
she really doesn't. Okay, she might not be a bad person, but if I've got an 11-year-old girl hanging around her, my 11-year-old girl
13
looks
now.
like a prostitute.
They're
Or
13 now.
13, my bad. But if my 13-year-old starts looking like a prostitute because she's hanging out with that chick, I'm gonna be like, no.
But if you think about it in today's world, these are girls dressing now.
Well, just because everybody dresses that way now doesn't mean it should be that way.
That's lingerie.
Yeah.
That's
Seriously.
not, but I'm
Any other thoughts, or am I actually starting to breed separate arguments?
I wouldn't wear that. So, you know. But seriously, okay, I'm just saying, if she grows up and she's like 27 and she's on a corner wearing that, I'm gonna think she's a prostitute. Just saying.
Or 13, you'd be a 7th grader, wouldn't you?
Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Whenever I was in 7th grade, I remember a bunch of kids down here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do like the little frost thing with it.
Yeah.
When I was in middle school, and I'm older than a lot of people in here, that was like the thing. Like everybody was painting their hair blonde. And I didn't do it. A lot of people were.
When we were junior high, it was like a pause.
Yeah, Paul is...
oh,
First of all, Paul's were the shit. Second of all, Paul was the shit. They actually got banned from our junior high.
That seriously just
That
our
and
age.
sunsplashes. And the two things that would piss off and off more than
I
anything.
bet you at least half the people in this
Oh my God,
class
he's
are
asking what pogs are.
I'm sure they know, because they're children. Pogs we're completely off topic now. I usually don't mention them until I get to the fashions and fads and talk about behavior.
The greatest thing of the night.
But they are little round pieces of cardboard with pictures on them. And you would play, it's kind of like a mix between, how would you explain it? Like not jacks, but similar. You would have a stack of pogs and you have, what was it called? The slammer. You would slam them, and then however they fall, to fix them.
It would be thicker metal and hard plastic, and you would like, and the pictures could be anything from animals to like a celebrity to.
We would pull. We didn't have stuff like Pokemon and Digimon and all that crap that came in the generations behind us. We had cardboard with pictures on it.
And we loved every damn
We
second
did
of it.
All right, now that we are totally on topic, so we've heard some objections, we've heard some ways and means. One more thing to show you to see if it changes your mind at all.
There's no turning back tonight. It's me and you.
Oh my god, I was writing today.
Pull the sound, but let it keep going. First of all, how many of you want makeup tips?
I thought I saw Adam's app on that chick. I just didn't want to say anything.
Here's what's going on. This is John Liu. He has a YouTube channel. He wants to be a professional makeup artist.
Oh, well, he's doing pretty good.
So what he's doing is he does these time-lapse transformation videos to show his makeup skills. And the reason his girl looks racy is because it's not everyday makeup. He's creating characters to show off his makeup skills. Yeah, but the reason I tricked you slightly and told you that they were brother and sister is because I wanted to see how you would react to a guy versus a girl based only on what they're wearing, based on the presentation, and just to find out they're actually the same person. So I'll let this finish so you can see.
Okay, is this kid really 13 though?
Yes. And he's older now.
Well, yeah, but I'm in the video.
I think he's 15 now. I guess at this time he was 13.
Yeah, he's a
That's
girl.
nice to be a girl.
He does. I think he looks better as a girl than he does a boy. Just saying.
Well, the reason for the super blonde is instead of wearing wigs, he used to dye his hair with extensions and he kind of had his hair.
Well, I don't have a problem getting a job.
I mean, when you think about it, if you want to show off your makeup skills and you're a guy making yourself look like a girl with only makeup, it's probably a fairly decent way to sort of, you know.
Did you say it'd be harder to get a job? Or?
No, yeah, I don't have a problem
Yeah.
finding a job.
So he doesn't.
I think it's good enough.
He doesn't have really strong features to begin with, though. I mean, his features are kind of soft, which helps make him look like a girl.
And that's why he doesn't have. You know, I've watched a lot of makeup artists on
At least she's
YouTube,
born
and
fast.
he's actually
But see, like he's painting them in.
Oh.
Lord.
Oh,
And then that's the finished character in this case.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
mine is everything.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
So yeah, that's why there are racier looking shoots. Because again, he's creating characters and not everyday makeup. So, the idea of how our perceptions change slightly depending upon the gender of the person we are talking about. Okay, how many of you are leaning either towards your 11-year-old self or your 11-year-old child towards the boy? How about the girl? How many of you don't know, don't care, or are afraid why I'm asking? Okay. So what do we think about the boy? Those of you that would lean more towards the boy or just in general, what do we think about the boy based on this picture?
The cardigan's a bold move.
He's a snappy dresser. Okay.
I guess I mostly base my opinion off the girl if it's wearing way too much makeup.
All right, so let's go and talk to about why not the girl then, because that seems to be easier. If you're picking the boy because, oh dear God, no, not the girl. Why?
She looks way too older.
So we think she's looking a little old for 11.
Yeah.
There's just way too much going on there that should not be going on for someone her age.
Okay. What are our concerns then if we think there's way too much going on there for an 11-year-old?
Her low cut shirt.
Okay.
Hair is dyed.
I'm not gonna. The low cut shirt, hair is dyed. We have a problem with 11-year-olds dyeing their hair.
No, but
Or-
like, I don't think you should dye your hair. I don't care if you dye your hair, but not that. I've never dyed my hair, so. Not when you're 11.
But when you're trying to look older.
I think it's just like it's become kind of a trend in the
Yeah.
past couple of years where girls will dye their hairs to either stand out above each other and act like they're, or try to be more popular than one another or to fit in at the same time.
Okay. So what is the underlying concern? So far I've heard there's too much makeup, the top is too low, she's looking too old.
I don't have a son, so I just don't know.
That influence.
Yeah.
She doesn't seem like a proper representation of typical 11-year-old girl.
Try this one more time. Same brother and sister. They're now 13. So this is 2 years later. And I'm going to ask you to make the same choice and make the same comment, basically. What do you think of them at 13? There we go. This is 13. Concerned. Freaking out by some of the expressions from the first couple of hours. What are we thinking? You can if you want to, but I want to know why. What are we thinking?
Is that really a 13-year-old?
They're 13.
I thought it was bad enough at 11.
Yeah. Like, what's gonna be left? Like 16 or 17 or 18? Like,
She's trying way too hard to be way too grown up.
Okay. What about the guy?
This guy seems like he's going through a lot of questions in his life, like sexual questions,
Not based on the blonde hair?
based on the longer hair.
Okay.
Financially off, but it's just
Any other thoughts?
we get another one coming.
I do. I have one more thing to see if it shifts your perception at all. So my first question is, who wants makeup tips? So what do we think now? Are we looking at me like, fuck you tricked us? Because obviously they're not siblings, they're the same person. What are we thinking now?
Pretty crazy. Basic. Because their eyebrows are the same. Look at their eyebrows. Funny. They're very good.
Maybe the siblings do each other's eyebrows.
They're flesh about.
Here's the backstory. This is John Liu. He has a YouTube channel. He's 16 now, I think. But he wants to be a professional makeup artist. And so his thought was, what better way to show up my potential makeup skills than to make myself look like a girl? And that's why his pictures at 11 and 13 look racy, because it's not everyday makeup. He's creating characters based on movies and TV shows. So he's trying to mimic makeup that he's seen in magazines, TV, or movies to show off, hey, I can actually do this for a living. My point in going through all of this, however, was to get you to make judgments based on the way people look, a guy and a girl, and to see how different your answers would be based on if you were talking about a guy or a girl. And I gotta tell you, I've really got to start recording these classes with the camera pointed this way because some of your expressions, that was priceless. I promise I won't trick you a similar way ever again. So this is the one time that I have used my potential, trick you in class card. And this keeps going on until he gets the character finished. But
Most loyal, whether it was people I found affecting who you chose to remain loyal or decided to.
and then there's the character. So yeah, simply based on our ideas of what is appropriate and what isn't, we make certain judgments.